Okay, in this context of with the topics of AI and how leadership will adapt to it, I think right now companies are thinking about how to use AI and does it start at the top and at where does it start? How does it go down the chain? There are various studies done on McKinsey, for instance, has said that 30% of our jobs, right from top management to the down below, by 2030 will be done by AIs or AI assisted. And Vinod Khosla, one of those private equity big bosses, has said that 80% of the jobs and 80% of the workforce will be replaced by AI in some form within the next 10 years. So I guess that is the overall where the world is going to. So where do companies start off today in anticipation of that?
Just to add, one of the things what AI has changed is that, see, earlier people thought about automation, right? And automation was very repetitive. You don't need to apply your mind kind of a task can be automated. Today, what AI in the past where you need to have a lot of training set and make machine understand how you do, to currently with this Gen AI, all of us would have dabbled with Chat GPT and all that, right? It's made the job of what supposedly only the human can do, where they have to take judgment calls, they have to be creative and all that. Now AI is kind of doing out of the box, which means that all these uh, area where it was supposed to be the white collar kind of a thing, those are getting automated, which is where the big shift and the entire thing is going to happen. All right. So I'm sure that people are seeing some of these things. People, there's a saying, people underestimate the long term impact and overestimate the short term impact. Okay. And this is very something truly going to happen here. Okay. I don't know, from the maybe different, we are all from different industries, people can share their thought about how they are seeing the early signals in their area. Maybe that could be a good way to start.
Super. So I totally agree. I think in my mind, we are overestimating the short term. I mean, a country like ours, we all know what happened with prediction about EV. Back in 1819, they said 2025, 80% of the country will be electric vehicle. Now, forget 80%. Is it 8% is what we should see now? But that said, it's going to progress in that direction, and over time you will find country going there. But then for another day. Here and now, is it going to be AI all the way? Certain sectors, yes, maybe, possible. But for example, where I come from, I sell tires for a living. Pretty much doubt if we're going to very soon get there, although a lot of the online discovery will be enabled by AI, using AI as a tool and so on and so forth. But beyond a point, it's not going to take over at the leadership level or even at the grassroots level. It's going to take some time there. We have to wait and see how it evolves.
So I want to share an experience, and this is from a client. This is a client which is into Nicotex gum, and they are an MNC cigarette company trying to get into the new age. So interesting. What I run is a frontline workforce, primarily driven to retail sell in or sell out. When we started the operations around 15 months back with them, so we used to have in a ratio of 1:10 or 12 supervisors. Broadly, that is the ratio in which we used to work. Around 4 months back, and this is obviously driven from the corporate, they have said that we want to go to 1:22. So I said 1:22 is very difficult at a supervisory level. How are you going to manage? He says, no, what we are doing is we have our new SFA, which has this intelligent SFA, they said. I said, good, what is the intelligent SFA going to do? So they said, intelligent SFA will do what? Is that you put the data, it says this much of sale has happened, this route, this has not happened, and this is where the productivity is going down. This is the route in which productivity is not going up. and we'll do the route planning, all that will do. So one of the core jobs, which is route planning, supervising, etc., we need less number of people. So this is 4 months back, so to be honest, I don't know what's happened there. But I'm just getting in context of the topic, supervisory piece. What they said that a lot of work which we used to churn out using a back-end MIS, or the supervisor is supposed to do some analytics, which route and all, it will be coming out of this data point. Hence, the supervisor's ratio 1:12 can move to 1:20, 22. So this is something which I heard. Now, where is it moved? Is it really moving? I'm sure they are experimenting. I don't know. So at least I don't see any productivity increase which has happened per se. I only see the attrition has gone up a little bit, which I've highlighted to them that your frontline attrition is going up. Perhaps you have to look at whether your supervisors, because 1:12 ratio is easier to manage when you go to 1:20, 22. So it will stretch on the supervisor to keep an contact. So I don't know, it's too early, as Maddie was saying, it's too early to early, but they talked about it. I also feel we are overestimating in that sense. Yeah, you can use ChatGPT. There are a lot of stuff which comes out we don't need to use, and we all started using Power BI. We know the Power BI, the ability to give kind of awesome analytics. But is that going to impact supervision? That's a different ball game, because there are a lot of it's a software. There are a lot of dynamics which comes with personalities, etc. Is it going to be solved because of AI? I am not too sure. So I'll keep it as an open item. But yeah, the trend, very difficult to say.
I think I'd like to just add that right now, like what Elon Musk, who is like, we all consider what he says as, saying is worth its weight in gold. So he has said that there will be rapid and radical transformation because of AI, and we are just seeing the beginning, the early days of it right now. So there has to be a lot of policies put in place, because right now we are looking at AI-generated deep fakes and so many things which are coming out, and EU has just come out with some good policies which are just being churned out right now. The European Union is coming out with it. So I deal with healthcare and education, so both of that. And I see a lot of it being utilized in healthcare, in teleophthalmology, and of course, with the high connectivity and the 5G and all healthcare workers being connected in real time, we're getting a lot of reports, and a lot of countries are adopting mechanisms by which they can get the reports through the algorithms, whereby they can monitor patients and have readings of any heart rate imbalances or arrhythmias. So a lot of work is being done in many countries, and it is going to slowly be trickling into India too. We're going to see it being adapted and adopted in many different forms, and it's an exciting time. And I think we need to be prepared. I think policies need to be put in place before it sort of overrules our life in many different ways. I think in the days to come, we need to see how this change in how we are looking at AI is going to be affecting all of us.
I just to add on to what all of us have been speaking about, I come from a slightly different background. So I'm more into live content. So a game of cricket happens, we cover it, and then we do things around it. So there are different ways of looking AI, according to me. One is the time frame that Mr. Madhavan was talking about. We are just getting started. Obviously, towards infinity is where we are presumably headed, right? So in terms of actually changing the game and the physical presence on the field, is it going to be affected anytime soon? That's the first question one needs to ask. Secondly, if that is not changing, what around it can change is the next question, right? Now, we've already seen, say, certain news channels experimenting a bit with artificial intelligence induced anchors.
Correct.
Right? We are already beginning to see that. And therefore, are we looking at a time when you do not need a human per se presenting something? That's the first thing that one is looking at. And secondly, if there is an air of inevitability about AI and where it is going to impact our lives, how am I going to be prepared for that AI revolution is the next point that I'm looking at, purely in terms of content. So am I really looking at a stage where humans stop thinking, machines think, humans ask the machines what needs to be done. Because a chat GPT is a very, very mini version of that. If I want a biodata of Mr. Madhavan, all I need to do is to go to a chat GPT. I don't need to bother him as to what he does and stuff. I get a broad idea as to what he does. And therefore, for everything, am I relying on the machines? So in terms of content, therefore, am I looking at a stage where I'm populating enough of my content so that the machines, every time somebody asks it the question, it only populates my content. That is how I'm trying to envisage and work around what can happen. So, I mean, that's my outlook on what is and what could be, and therefore how I can be prepared to play around the same.
Yeah, that is at the very transactional level. So I'm looking at the problem at three levels: the strategic level, tactical level, and operational level. Most of the AI is applicable for the lower level where everything is transactional, where I just ask one person to person level, face to face level, I get the query done, get the answers. That is done very beautifully now. Second level is more about tactical level, where it's more about team dynamics. Whether a group can effectively use this information to get the work done. What team does earlier, can AI do that? For example, most of the work done by a team can be done by one machine. All the optimization done, inventory planning done, supply planning done in a supply chain context can be done by one machine. In the strategic level, what a boss does, can that be done by one machine? Let us talk about those angles also. And are there any case studies available to us in the Indian context or in the global context about any such experiments done and any results available with us to look at these experiments? I just searched some examples in SDFC and TCS, Tata Steel, then Mahindra and Mahindra. They talk about some case studies of some experiments. I'll share that with you. But I'm just talking about these issues. Can we discuss that also as one of the pointers for us to discuss?
Sure, sir.
Right? So please. I'm sort of curious about, because being academician, I just want to know some research points from you.
See, early days, as I said, I mean, if you ask, we are operating managers, right? I mean, we run reasonably large businesses. In the spaces that he said, for example, in the newsroom, we have seen weather anchor, weathermen, weatherwomen have now moved on. That's where the possible reference to was. But are we seeing it now? Regular brick and mortar and other businesses that we are running, which is more commoditized? Early days. Do we have to prepare? Honestly, we don't know what's coming in our way. That's also the truth. What's coming our way, we don't know. It could be an avalanche hitting us, or it could be a dam square for a few more years. At this point in time, fortunately or unfortunately, no. And again, we are going to be a country for a while employing flesh and blood, because that's what is our strength, right? I mean, we can't move away. If you look for cases, you're going to find very few. You're going to find unless there are a few in your space.
As part of our work, we are trying to help companies adopt AI. So there are many case studies or proof of concepts or whatever we do, or we know what's being happening and all that, right? So there are also the risk aspects of it. We'll come to that later. Where from what Professor was talking about, from the strategy and the tactic levels, right? Yeah, it won't totally replace that. But the area, I mean, for example, Microsoft uses this Copilot as a concept, right? And that is here to stay, okay? Everywhere you would be able to have all those decisions which would have been very difficult. Now it's available. You would be able to be, it's like the Iron Man suit of the Iron Man. So that's coming in place, right? And certainly in some areas, they do a much better job than human. Susan was talking about the healthcare and all that, right? So let's say there's a radiologist who looks at an X-ray and makes the thing. AI makes it much, much better. Or Google comes up with just using iPhone and look at the retina and predict whether is a potential heart patient or something like that, right? These things are, it can do that, and it will do everything much better success rate than that, right? So this, and my sense, if you were to extrapolate it, is that every human will have a kind of a digital twin, a co-pilot, okay? And if it knows my calendar, my task list, and my emails and things like that, it will probably talk to somebody else and say, okay, these are the things I need to do, or it will give to me as a recommendation, so that our job becomes a lot more easier. Like what Mani was talking about, that supervisory thing, and each of our thing, it's going to happen pretty soon, right? It's not happening now, but
In fact, what they say is at the lower level is going to be replacement. At the middle level is going to be what they call as a human collaborative robots called cobots. It's called cobots. And top level is going to be interface between machine and human, supportive. Because they can't replace it. It's going to be supportive, where the leaders will take the support of the machines to take their good decisions, informed decisions. That's how you look at the AIs. So there's a beautiful book recently published, Human plus Machines Work. I forget the author's name. Just released actually. The book talks about human plus machines work. Talks about how the humans and machines should work together, not to replace. So that's so that talk about the middle level talks about the the role of cobot. There's a PhD thesis on that. Cobot is called cobot. So that fear of replacement is slightly vanishing now. So that is the development which I'm seeing actually.
One thing I would like to add up with what Professor is saying, when you're thinking of strategic, what he said, humans take the, as everyone voiced out, tactical approach is going to be a supportive thing. But at this juncture, when you're going for future, we should look at how the governance rules going to play a vital role, because at the end of the day, we can't say I took support of technical support from AI, let it be humanoid or a cobot or something, and you can't say if some error happens, it is because of that. But it should be in such a way that a human is responsible for whatever the actions have happened, and that is going to play a vital role. It can be in driverless cars or even robotic operations or whatever is that. But at the end of the day, human should control it and human should handle it, and he's going to be responsible because he's going to think and act. Though whatever iterative things can happen through a artificial intelligence or chat GPT, anything, but at the end of the day, it should be a controlled thing towards human having responsibility towards that. Then we can't say it was a robot which did the operation wrong. That in that angle, we have to start thinking and start playing the governance parallelly in the same way in ethics as well towards this.